Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the Minnesota Twins. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 3 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Tuesday, everyone. And on the thumb, on the left, our stud center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And on the right, one of the best players on the Minnesota Twins, shortstop, Carlos Correa. Now let's get into the starting lineup here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, catching today for the Mariners, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, DHing today for Seattle, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing left field, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing first base, Donovan Solano. Batting seventh, playing right field, Dominic Canzone. Batting eighth, playing third base, Ben Williamson. And batting ninth, playing second base, Cole Young. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 4-5 record, an ERA of 3.38, Luis Castillo. Let's go, La Piedra. We need you, baby. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Minnesota Twins. Leading off for the Twins in center field, Byron Buxton. Batting second, DHing today, Trevor Larnach. Batting third, playing third base, Brooks Lee. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, shortstop, Carlos Correa. Batting fifth, playing right field, Matt Wallner. Batting sixth, the former Seattle Mariner first baseman, Ty France. Batting seventh, playing second base, Cody Clemens. Batting eighth, catching today, Ryan Jeffers. And batting ninth, left fielder Harrison Bader. And on the mound for the Twins with a 3-6 record, ERA of 4.48, it is Chris Paddock. Paddock on the mound and J.P. Crawford in the box. We're going to be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 50 or more overall as far as the show goes overall, and 100 in the donos on every single stream. You know, a fantastic start in game one on the road. You know, anytime you can end up doing what the Mariners did yesterday, you know, and putting on 11 runs and winning by 9. That's the way that we want to play, just like we won 2 out of 3 at Wrigley against the Cubs and sweeping the Guardians a couple series before that. So definitely excited to be able to see what we're going to be able to bring here today. We got a very strong lineup, strong pitcher on the mound. All Day and Captain are in the building. I appreciate you guys. Let's get to a good number here today. But most importantly, try to end up. Let's get the Mariners win. Let's get it, baby. And I ended up doing a lot more work with the thumbs and trying to get some more images of some of the other players. And as you can see with the thumbnail, I got a brand new Julio and decided to throw it up here on the thumbnail. And I think it turned out pretty damn good. We'll be using that image of Julio moving forward as well. First pitch, takes a strike swinging right down the middle from Paddock. 0-1 count. And definitely getting JP going early and often will be a key. Let's go, JP. 0-1 pitch in play and flight out to left, 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And again, Julio going into yesterday's game as he fouls off the first pitch right down the middle with the slider, 0-1 count, 88 miles an hour by Paddock. But he only had 2 ribbies of the entire month of June. And he ended up getting that, obviously, in his 2-run homer, yesterday, and then ended up getting a double and getting a couple more RBIs. So 4 RBIs yesterday, 2 in the entire month of June, going into yesterday. So now he's at 6. Still has a long ways to go, but it's a bright side and a nice, kind of, glimmer of maybe what is to come moving forward with Julio. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss right down the middle, 0-2 count. 0-2 pitch and strikes out looking right down the middle. And again, normally we're seeing Julio strike out swinging, not necessarily looking, but that's 3 pitches right down the middle. Paddock obviously is not intimidated by Julio. 2 away. Hopefully Julio will get going moving forward. And on the box, the big dumpa, the best catcher in baseball, 32 home runs so far, catcher Cal Raleigh. He can hit homers from the left side. He can hit homers from the right side. But at the end of the day, you know what it is. It's Tridents up. Let's go, baby. First pitch, low and away, the big dumper. 1-0 count.
Oh my gosh.
In play. Go, go, go. And man, this guy's, I don't even know what to say about a guy like this, complete electricity. It doesn't matter, if he's getting home runs or getting singles and doubles. I love, love, love what Cal has been able to bring, and a nice double for Cal Raleigh with 2 outs. Hell yeah. Next up, DHing today, Randy Arozarena. And you're not going to see Randy DHing that often, but we're trying to, get everyone in the lineup, including Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone, and Donovan Solano. And again, I think this is a very strong lineup, and hopefully we can get it done here. First pitch from Paddock to Randy Arozarena. Takes a strike looking on the line. 0-1 count. Daniel in the building, what's good? 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Paddock to Randy Arozarena. And a great double from Cal Raleigh. Just makes you, kind of hope and wonder, if they're going to move Julio lower in the lineup. But just imagine if JP or Julio would have been able to get on base. Maybe it's already 1-0 after that double by Cal Raleigh. So important that we get guys on before Cal. That way it's not just solo dingers and singles and doubles by Cal alone. We want to make sure that someone is on base so Cal can get a nice RBI single, RBI double, or a 2-run jack or 3-run jack rather than a solo jack. 2-1 pitch. Low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. See if we can knock Cal in from second base. And obviously getting off to a fast start is going to be ideal. Team ranks in the first inning first in almost every category. We are money. 3-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking in the zone. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. 3-2 pitch. Right down the middle, fouled off. Nice souvenir for that fan there. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second. Cal Raleigh with a double with 2 outs. Randy Arozarena in the box. And Chris Paddock on the mound. And again, 3-6 record with an ERA of 4.48. Nothing really to be too scared of. If we do our job, get to 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits, we should have a good chance of winning this game here today. Not sure if we're going to have an 11-2 final like yesterday, but again, hopefully the home runs are aplenty, and hopefully we end up getting 3, 4, or 5 today, and that'll definitely set the tone for us. Top of the first inning, 0-0 Mariners and Twins. 3-2 pitch, fouled off again, high and inside with that 4-seam fastball by Paddock. Let's go, baby. 3-2 pitch. And he's grinding out this at-bat. Another foul ball. That's 3 in a row. Four-seam fastballs aplenty by Chris Paddock. But Randy isn't biting just yet. Let's see if he can get something out of this at-bat. One more pitch, and he'll go to first with a walk. Come on, Randy. And Randy is still one of those guys that is going to strike out a lot like Julio, but seems like he's a little bit more in tune on being patient in the box. But again, may not get anything here. 3-2 pitch, and he pops out to second. We leave Cal Raleigh stranded at second base. But again, I don't know how many people anticipate, scoring runs in the first inning. Obviously, it's something that you hope for, but it's not going to happen every time. Down goes Randy, down go the Mariners, and let's go to the bottom of the first inning, see who's up next here for the Twins. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 4-5 record, ERA of 3.38. La Piedra, Luis Castillo. And we need Luis, to give up 3 runs or less. Hopefully he can go 5 to 7 innings and be strong. And if he gives up a couple solo dingers, no big deal. Sometimes that'll be back-to-back like we saw yesterday. Sometimes it'll be 2 home runs in the same inning. But as long as they're just solo jacks, if he gives up the home runs, we'll be completely fine. Where we get in trouble is if he starts giving up 2-run jacks, 3-run dingers, and grand salamis. Hard to come back when you start giving up those. Leading off for the Twins, center fielder Byron Buxton. Batting second, DHing Trevor Larnach. And batting third baseman Brooks Lee. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. $12 likes to 20. There we go. Or 12 likes to 20. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Yep, haven't smashed that like button yet. Please do help us get to 20 within the first hour. 50 or more throughout the whole entire stream. And obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. First pitch to Byron Buxton, high and inside. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch by Luis Castillo. Change up 85 miles an hour, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes to Byron Buxton. Let's go, baby. And King, yes, I do use StreamYard. I have been one of the OG users of the platform. I've been using it for years. And again, there's a lot of different platforms out there that people can use. But I felt that this particular platform suited my needs more than some of the others. And I've been pretty loyal with them, and I've stuck with them for quite some time. 3-1 pitch. That one's fouled off. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Buxton. And hopefully Luis will not, plunk too many guys, walk too many guys, and hopefully he can get into the strike zone early and often. And obviously a key will be getting that first pitch strike to get ahead of the count and kind of set the tone. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of playing catch up, at every at-bat. 280 average there for Byron Buxton. Solid season in 2025. He's usually injury prone, but so far this year, he's looking pretty good. And Buxton with the 3-2 pitch, singles to left. He keeps his hot streak going. Next up, DHing Trevor Larnach. And hopefully we can end up getting a punch out on Larnach, or he can hit into a slow dribbler to J.P. Crawford and a throw to first to get a double play. First pitch from Castillo to Larnach, low and away. Could have been a call to strike there. It's right there, painting the corner, but the ump gives him a ball. We'll see how the ump, ends up calling this game, if he's going to be generous in the strike zone or not. Bottom of the first inning, runner at first, 0-0 Mariners and Twins. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking on the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Trevor Larnach. 1-1 pitch. Inside. No. Outside. Low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike after that slider just misses. 83 miles an hour by Castillo. 2 balls and 1 strike with runner at first and no outs. 2-1 pitch. Low and away. And that's kind of the theme for Luis so far. Come on, La Piedra. 3 balls and 1 strike to Trevor Larnach. And again, starting pitching has been a little shaky overall, regardless if it's Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Brian Wu, or Emerson Hancock. It feels like most of them are giving up 4 to 6 runs, on almost every start lately. But the nice thing is the bullpen has improved dramatically. Bizzardo is now our number 2. And on top of that, hitting is, going through the roof. And there we go. Larnach grounds out into the double play. JP, the first, got him. There we go. You ask and you shall receive. And I'm happy that we got the double play there. Sometimes you can get the double play right away, and sometimes you got to wait for 1 out and a strikeout, and then you get the double play the next batter. But we didn't even have to wait. I love that. Next up is third baseman Brooks Lee. Maybe we can get the punch out for Castillo here. First pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. And definitely important to get that first pitch strike. So that way, when we get those, slow dribblers to JP or Cole Young, we can make this happen. And Donovan Solano, again, what can you say? This guy has been very good for us lately. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away with the changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brooks Lee. All right, here we go. We just hit 10. We still got quite a few people in the room. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do. 8 more to go to hit 20. And the faster that we can get 20, hit that algorithm, we'll get more recommendations and we'll be on our way to get to 50 or more before the night is up. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Castillo on the mound, Brooks Lee in the box. There we go, baby. Let's go. 1-2 pitch. That one's fouled off right down the middle with the sinker, 95 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brooks Lee. Let's go, Louise. We need a strong outing, baby. Bring that electricity. And again, 3 runs or less, because we got to, give a little bit of wiggle room with our bullpen. But again, it just feels like we never can be great at all 3 phases of the game. Starting pitching, hitting, and bullpen. But at least we have 2 out of 3 right now, and at least the starting pitching isn't costing us games. And Brooks Lee flies out to first, and that is the end of the first inning. Good job by Luis Castillo getting into some early trouble, but getting that double play was essential against Trevor Larnach. Nice job, La Piedra. Next up, for the Mariners in the 5-hole today, playing left field for Randy Arozarena, a guy that always hustles, and we've really missed his presence in the lineup offensively, defensively, and just good vibes overall. Who am I talking about? It's Luke Raley. And obviously, when you can have a guy like this come in and be hot like Donovan Solano and Dominic Canzone lately, it really does make everything kind of come together. You got to have the newbies at the end of the lineup. Ben Williamson and Cole Young step up, and you're getting good production by Luke, Donovan, and Dominic. You know that things are going good, and then it's typically only up to guys like Polo and Randy in the middle of the lineup, if they're playing, to do their job. And then obviously the front guys in the top 3, you expect them to get on base and set the tone, JP, Julio, and Cal. And, JP and, Cal, for the most part, have been doing that, even though JP has been getting a little cool within the last couple games, but he can definitely heat up at any time. Julio, obviously, was as cold as they come, an iceberg in Antarctica. 2 RBIs in June until yesterday, and he got 4 yesterday, including a 2-run jack. So, again, you don't really know what you're going to get game in and game out from this team, but I like what I'm seeing right now by the roster. Let's freaking go. Batting second, back in the lineup. Great to see. Probably the only guy that I wanted to actually see bat yesterday, first baseman Donovan Solano. He gets a day off. Let's see if his hot streak can continue. And speaking of hot streaks, this guy right here, right fielder, Dominic Canzone, this was the right move instead of Leody Taveras. And I know that a lot of us, enjoyed Rowdy Tellez and Leody Taveras, but, you got to go with the hot hand, and I like what I'm seeing. First pitch, and Luke Raley grounds out to first, 1 away. Come on, Luke. We know you're going to hustle the first base, but I want you to work the count a little bit. He was looking for that first pitch homer again. Next up, first baseman Donovan Solano. Let's go, Donovan. I know Donovan can work a count, and again, he's been very, very good as of late. So again, a guy that can hit 1 home run, 2 home runs in a game, get 3, 4, 5 ribbies in a game. You know, he knows how to work the count. He never gave up on himself, even though a lot of us fans, including myself, were kind of getting fed up, right? You know, like this guy was batting 100, for a good chunk of the season. Worst player on the team with Mitch Garver and Trent Thornton in the bullpen. But Donovan has earned his keep, obviously, hence them releasing Rowdy Tellez instead of him. And I think that was the right choice. 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled off high and away. Paddock on the mound. Donovan Solano in the box. Let's go, Donovan. 0-2 pitch, high and away with the four-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Donovan Solano. And again, Chris Paddock, 3-6 record, an ERA of 4.48. So we should be able to get 1 to 3 runs within the first 5 innings and have that explosion inning at some point in the game. 1-2 pitch, high and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. That's a common theme for Paddock. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Donovan Solano. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Solano, and that is a rare strikeout for him lately. 2 away. Next up is right fielder Dominic Canzone. Let's go, Dom. First pitch from Paddock to Dominic Canzone, low and away. Slider, 90 miles an hour by Paddock, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Paddock to Dominic Canzone. Let's go, Dom. And Dom has been locked in, and I love seeing Dom contribute to this team. 1-1 pitch. Fouls that one off high and away. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the second inning, we're still knotted up at 0. 1-2 pitch, and that one is fouled off with the changeup, 86 miles an hour by Chris Paddock. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Let's go, Dom. Oh, under. Definitely under. We had an 11-2 victory yesterday, but I highly doubt that that's going to be the case here today. I still think the Mariners are going to have a good chance to score 4 to 7 runs, but again, we don't really know which individuals are going to have a great game and, put the team on their back like Cal Raleigh, and what other guys may potentially struggle, whether that be Luis Castillo, the guys in the bullpen, or just the hitters in general. But, I'm hoping that we can get to a big number again, but a lot of times when the Mariners throw up a big number, that following game usually ends up being 1 to 3 runs. But we've been kind of hitting a heater lately, especially with the Cubs series, hitting 7 runs or more in all 3 games. So, to be able to throw up, 7 to 10 runs, almost kind of feels like it's, doable. And Canzone flies out to third, and that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the second inning. But again, normally when we end up having that big game, usually we score 1 to 3 runs in like the first inning, and then we kind of set the tone, and then we go from there. But so far, so good. It's been a pitcher's duel, even though Castillo's looked a little shaky early on. Let's see who's up next here for the Twins. Next up for the Twins, shortstop Carlos Correa. Batting second, right fielder Matt Wallner. And batting third, the former first baseman for the Mariners, Ty France. 1 hit apiece here in the bottom of the second inning for the Mariners and Twins. Could be anybody's game, but again, I like the way that the Mariners have been playing lately, and obviously with Seattle, we're in second place to the Astros, and again, we're going to be creeping up, from 5 games, 4.5, 3.5, 2.5, 1 game back. We just have to be able to kind of chip away. And with the Minnesota Twins, at one point, they were in second place to the Tigers, but now they've slid behind the Guardians and even the Royals and Bobby Witt Jr., and now they're sitting with a slump, and they're in 4th place out of 5 teams in their division. So we need to take advantage when they're down, and we need to keep the hot streak going. Let's go, La Piedra. We need you, baby. So I don't know if any of you guys follow John Gruden on social media, but John Gruden, ends up, doing these like unboxings, unveilings, for different teams that send him like gear. And normally it's only like football teams that typically send him stuff. Last night, the Mariners actually sent him a package, and they did a video of it this morning. And crazy, Lou Piniella was at Gruden's house, and Lou Piniella was there with him to unbox this humongous Seattle Mariner kind of gift package that they gave. And I definitely highly recommend following Gruden if you're a Mariner fan to check it out. Lots of really cool merch that they sent him. And, there's a lot of things that I'll go over here in just a minute. First pitch to Carlos Correa, right down the middle, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees with the changeup, 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Correa. 1-1 pitch, that one is fouled off low and at the knees, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Correa. 1-2 pitch, low and away with that slider, 83 miles an hour by La Piedra. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Correa. But they had some really cool merch, a batting helmet that had the little ear guard on one side with the trident on the front with that classic kind of City Connect blue. Amazing. The cutoff hoodie with no sleeves. I want one of those bad. Those things are sick. And they even did a Cal Raleigh Big Dumper autographed jersey. And on top of that, the coolest thing was probably the catcher's gear, where they actually have the padding that goes over the chest as well as the leg protectors. And they sent that to Gruden as well. I got a little jealous, I won't lie. There was quite a bit of merch that was in that box that I would have loved to be able to have personally. And, again, definitely a cool video. One thing is for sure, Lou Piniella is old as fuck. You can definitely tell he's definitely entering that grandpa stage where, he's not so old where he can't like talk or function properly, but you can definitely tell he's definitely a little bit slower due to the age, going over the Mariners and, going over just, forming full sentences and all. But it was cool to be able to see Lou Piniella in the video as well. 3-2 pitch, and that one is fouled out to first. Donovan Solano there, 1 away. Next up is right fielder Matt Wallner. First pitch, high and away with the changeup, 88 miles an hour to Wallner, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Wallner. Come on, Luis. But the hoodie with no sleeves, I need one of those. The batting helmet, I need one of those. Obviously, I don't need a Cal Raleigh autographed jersey. I don't need the catcher's gear. I just thought that was cool for Gruden to get those items. And, Gruden threw the jersey on and whatnot. And there was a couple other items in there that were pretty cool. But to me, the batting helmet and then the hoodie with no sleeves, I need that. That's a fire look. And not many teams carry that type of gear. 0-2 pitch, and there we go. Strikes out swinging. Down goes Wallner, 2 away on the 1-2 pitch. Next up for the Twins, former Seattle Mariner first baseman Ty France. I don't mind if Ty has a great series and a great game as long as he's not the reason that we lose. First pitch, high and inside, 1-0 count. Yeah, and I mean, you can definitely tell the people that understand baseball, and the people that don't understand baseball when they talk about Cal Raleigh, getting MVP. When for the people that are only looking at the stats that Judge is producing and not understanding what it takes to be a catcher in baseball, it's literally the hardest position to play. You got to be able to call a game. You got to keep everyone motivated. You have to be able to hit. You have to be able to defend. What does Aaron Judge do? He hits at an extremely high level, and he's a decent defender, when he plays in the outfield, unless they have him DH. But if we're really looking at all the things that Cal does compared to all the things that Aaron does, Aaron is a Hall of Famer, first ballot. He's like the modern day Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, or Hank Aaron. There's no denying that. He's the face of baseball with Shohei Ohtani right now. But I think that if you're looking at everything that Cal is doing based off the numbers that he's putting up, he definitely should be able to, get hopefully a few more votes from people. And we already know there, France grounds out to the shortstop, throw to first from JP, and that is the end of the second inning for the Minnesota Twins. But again, there's going to be many categories that Judge is ahead, of Cal Raleigh. If you're looking at, every single category, there's like 3 that Cal is beating Aaron at, and Aaron's winning at like 9 or 10 other separate categories, batting average and some of these others. But they're dominating the league right now in the American League. But again, we've never seen a catcher do what Cal is doing. And for that simple fact, they should be able to give him the award this year. Aaron can get the year. He can get the award any year, regardless if he's batting 300, 320, 350, 380. It doesn't matter. Aaron can get it every single year for the American League. And same thing goes for Shohei Ohtani in the National League. Regardless if they have 35 home runs, 45 home runs, 50 home runs, they are the face of the MLB. And hopefully the fans and the people that have access to voting, as this season continues, will realize how hard it really is. And when we talk about most valuable player, the Yankees and Dodgers would still more than likely be in the playoffs without Judge and Ohtani, right? Especially the Dodgers. They already have Mookie and Freddie. For the Yankees, it would be tougher, but they could do it, right? But for the Mariners, if we don't have Cal Raleigh, we're like 15 or 20 games below 500. We might be the worst team in the division. We might be in 5th place right there with the Athletics. So again, if you're really looking at most valuable, it's by far Cal Raleigh in 2025. Will it be Cal Raleigh in 2026? Probably not. You never know. But again, hopefully he'll get the credit that he deserves in this historic year. Let's go to the top of the 3rd inning, 0-0 Mariners and Twins, and definitely looks like it's going to be a little bit low scoring of an affair with the pitching being pretty good here today. Next up, in the 8-hole, third baseman Ben Williamson. Batting second in the 9-hole on deck, Cole Young. And back at the top of the order, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Let's go, Crawdaddy. We need you. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 likes within the first hour. First pitch in play by Williamson, and he gets a single right to the shortstop. And again, the faster that we can get to 20, we can hit that algorithm and eventually get to 50. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. We got more than half of the people in the room that haven't done it. Takes literally 1 second to hit the like button. And again, that'll help us not only with the likes, but the views, the subs, the potential shares, and obviously more people that are looking for a baseball stream to watch here this Tuesday evening. So again, if you don't feel like donating or commenting, that's completely fine. But at the very least, do your boy a solid and hit that like button. That'll help us tremendously. First pitch to Cole Young, high and away. Takes a strike looking, painting that corner by Paddock. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees to Cole Young. 1 ball and 1 strike from Paddock to Young. 1-1 pitch, high and inside with a 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cole Young. And again, Paddock, 3-6 record with a 4.48 ERA. And it's kind of funny. He looks very similar to Bailey Ober yesterday. A lot of the Twins players, they have a kind of a look, especially with the pitchers there on the squad. But hopefully we can get the job here today. Top of the 3rd inning with a runner at first. Knotted up here at 0. Paddock on the mound. Young in the box. Michael in the building. What's good? 2-1 pitch. And there we go. And Young with a single to right. And again, you know when we're flowing, when the bottom end of the order is producing. Two guys from the AAA affiliate, the Tacoma Rainiers, essentially Williamson and Young are rookies this year, and we need to find that right blend of rookies and OGs. And I said that at the beginning of the year, and now we have Dominic Canzone, Ben Williamson, and Cole Young that played for Tacoma this year, and they're producing and helping us play. Donovan Solano was shitty at the beginning of the year. He's really good right now. Luke Rayleigh was hurt. Now he's back. And again, we just need to continue, consistency from JP, Cal, and Randy and Julio to get back on the horse. Nice job by the rookies at the bottom of the order by Williamson and Young. Don't waste this opportunity, JP. We should be able to get at least a run this inning, minimum. Let's go, JP. Crawford with the bunt and safe. Look at that. Wow. And what did I say about when people bunt? I've been saying it for ages. When you bunt, you get on base like 90% of the time if you drop the bunt down correctly. And just like that, JP Crawford getting my text message saying, hey, we need to bunt. And he does it. Now we got bases loaded for this guy right here, Julio Rodriguez. Only had 2 ribbies going into June, into yesterday's game, had a 2-run jack as well as an RBI where he ended up bringing home 2. Got 4 RBIs alone yesterday. And again, let's see if Julio can, we don't expect him to get a grand salami here, but it would be nice for him to get at least 1 run to come in. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Come on, J-Rod. We pay you the big bucks for a reason. Let's go. Vamos, Julio. Let's go, baby. But, man, I'm so happy that we actually dropped a bunt down. We got to 20 likes, so we're there. Now we need to get to the next goal of 30, and we got at least 15 people in the room that haven't smashed that like button yet. Help your boy out. Let's go. 2-1 pitch. Low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike from Paddock to Julio. And if I'm, Edgar Martinez, Seitzer, and Dan Wilson, I'm telling Julio, do not fucking swing. Let him walk you. And then we get an automatic run from third to come home, Ben Williamson, without him even swinging. Now, is it possible Paddock throws 2 strikes right down the middle? Yeah, it's possible, but I would rather have Julio strike out that way than him to go after something that he shouldn't. So hopefully we can get something here. Let's see. Or at least get a single. And there it is. Julio, sac fly, deep enough, into right field. Go, go, go. And Williamson scores. I'll take that. And again, even though it was a sac fly, at least it was deep enough for Julio to get a run to come down. And not exactly what I wanted to see, but again, productive. Nice job, J-Rod, 1-0 Mariners. Next up is Big Dumper Cal Raleigh, 1 for 1 with a double in the first. He can hit from the left. He can hit from the right. And, at the end of the day, it's always going to be tridents up. Let's go, Cal. '40th RBI for Julio Rodriguez. And I'm even throwing it back to his Florida State days, but when he was little dumper, before the big dumper became big. It still was big, but it wasn't as big as it was in the pros. And Florida State, not a lot of people knew who Cal Raleigh was here, but I figured I would educate some of y'all and try to give you a few photos, too, from back in his college days. Fire. Let's go, Cal. Now we got runners at first and third. In play. Here we go. Cal with singles to right. Go, Young. Go, Young. Young scores. Crawford, go. Go. Yes. 2-0 Mariners. And just like that, it shows you how important to have a guy like Cal Raleigh. Right side, no problem. Left side, no problem. And again, a double and a single by Cal Raleigh. And just like that, this is what it's supposed to be like when you have great players at the top of the order. JP, Julio, and Cal getting it done. 2-0 Mariners. Fuck yeah. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Runners at first and second now with 1 out. And again, scoring these runs early and often, that is the key. Hell yeah, baby. Let's go, Big Dumper. Let's go, Julio. And again, JP by bunting. And again, it shows you if you bunt and you put it in play, the chances of them defending it properly is not very good. No team practices the bunt. So again, a lot of times the throw to first is wild, and you can make a bunt turn from a single to a double, depending on where it goes. Luckily, they were able to have a guy run behind the first baseman and catch that ball. If he wasn't there, maybe we end up getting a little bit more on the bases. But again, everything worked out the way that it was supposed to. Julio didn't get out in his second at-bat. Cal comes up after him. He knocks one in, and now we're sitting at a 2-0 lead and threatening to get another one or two more before this inning is up. 2-1 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and 1 strike from Paddock to Randy Arozarena. And it definitely feels, and I know I'm not the only one, it feels like we're back. When we won 9 consecutive series in a row, the way that we're playing ball right now, it feels like we're in that same kind of mode. And it all started when we swept the Guardians. We didn't really play that good against Boston. And again, that was a little bit of a struggle. It wasn't the same as sweeping the Guardians, but then we got right back on track, obviously winning 2 out of 3 at Wrigley and scoring 7 runs or more in all 3 games and 11-2 yesterday, and now we're already up 2-0. I like what I'm seeing here from the Seattle Mariners. We keep playing like this, and the Astros keep hitting a wall. We're going to catch up to them and get back to first place, hopefully in a few weeks. 3-1 pitch. That one is fouled off, high and away. Out now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. And there we go. Randy with some good eyes, baby. Randy says, I'm not swinging at some garbage, and Randy has walked. Bases loaded with 1 out. Uh-oh, you know who it is. It's Luke Rayleigh. 3-run jack yesterday, and now he's got bases loaded with 1 swing. It could be 6-0 Mariners. Let's go, Luke. Let's make it happen. Again, if we end up hitting the grand salami here, Twins fans are going to leave again. And again, when you go up 6-0, it really... it rips your heart out, obviously, if you're the team that's down, because more than likely you're not coming back. You might be able to get a few runs against the bullpen, at some point, or you hope that the starting pitcher on that opposite side ends up fucking up at some point or another. And you might be able to do what the Mariners did, being down 9-1 against the Cubbies in Game 2 in the 3rd, and we only lost 10-7. We only gave up 1 more run after the 3rd, a solo jack from Pete Crow Armstrong, but not every team is built like the Mariners, hitting-wise, as of late. Let's go. But I love JP bunting, and hopefully we'll see more guys bunt. Because again, especially if you're someone that hasn't been able to hit very well, the number 1 guy on the team that should be bunting on a regular basis is Dylan Moore. You start bunting with him, then at least his at-bats will be productive instead of him striking out, looking, or swinging. And then eventually you can, get back to getting singles and maybe even home runs like you did at the beginning of the year. Here we go, 1-0 pitch, and Rayleigh gets hit by a pitch, and that brings in a freebie run. I love it, baby. 3-0 Mariners. I wanted to be able to have a grand salami, but that wasn't in the cards. They actually had a mound visit there for Paddock, and I'll take that. 3-0 Mariners. Now we have Donovan Solano up. Can Donovan make it 7-0? Let's go. Bases loaded with 1 out. 3-0 Mariners. Let's go, baby. Donovan Solano, let's get it done. He was the only player yesterday that I was hoping that would pinch hit later in the game, but we didn't need him. First pitch, low and away with that slider. 1-0 count. Let's go, Donovan. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. Good eye by Donovan. 2 balls and no strikes from Paddock to Solano. And right now, Paddock is reeling. So if you're, an intelligent baseball player, don't fucking swing. Just take in the freebies. And if you can end up getting hit, like on the wrist, like Luke did, or you end up taking walks and you can just get a freebie. Now, obviously, if you get the big home run, the grand salami, or a 2-run, RBI double, then it extends the score even more. But right now, Paddock is all over the place, and Bailey Ober got fucked up, and Paddock is about to get fucked up a little bit more here. 2-0 pitch, fouls one off right down the middle. That was a good one to swing at by Donovan. 2 balls and 1 strike from Paddock to Solano. 2-1 pitch, and he fouls that one off Low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 1 out. Let's see if we can get 1 more run minimum. Obviously, there's a chance to get 2, 3, 4 more, but we don't need to be too greedy. It's already 3-0. But again, we want to make sure we're capitalizing when we have moments like this instead of, leaving so many stranded. You don't know how the rest of the game is going to go, especially with Luis Castillo, who's kind of known for giving up homers. 2-2 pitch. Low and away. Slider misses the strike zone, tries to paint that corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out with bases loaded. 3-2 pitch, and that one is fouled off high and inside. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Paddock. Let's go, Mariners. Paddock on the mound. Donovan Solano in the box. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. 1 swing, it could end up being 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, or 7-0. Let's go. Right here, take the walk, Donovan. If it's not right down the middle, take the walk. And we'll take a 4-0 lead if we have to, with a freebie coming in from third. But if it's there, mash that shit. You've been seeing the baseball very, very well within the last 2 weeks. Top of the third inning, 3-0 Mariners. It's in play. Here we go, Donovan. Yes. Go, go, go. Singles to center. Randy, go, go, go. Randy scores. Cal Raleigh scores. Rayleigh to second. 5-0 Mariners. Woo! Let's go. Crazy to think that this guy was one of the worst players on the team, and now he's one of the hottest players on the team. Nice job, Donovan Solano. Way to bring that fucking electricity. 5-0. Let's go, baby. And let's not let this end. Hey, we got a guy right here with 1 swing. We can make it 8-0 Mariners. Dominic Canzone. Let's go. Anna in the building, what's good? Jerry in the building, what's good? Yeah, Twins are going to have to go to the bullpen at some point a little early. Man, and it's funny too, because again, baseball's long. We started off the year very, very bad, getting injuries to Victor Robles and getting beat up by the Giants and Tigers. But now, a few months fast forward, the Giants and the Tigers are 2 of the top 5 teams in baseball. So it doesn't look as bad as it did early on. Obviously you want to start strong, but anybody can have a great record and be 10-0 to start a season if you play the fucking Angels and the Marlins, And again, when you play good teams that overachieved this year, like the Giants and the Tigers, again, it's better to play up to the competition than play down to the competition. And even though the Twins have been reeling, they're still a good team, even though they're in 4th place in their division. And again, I like what I'm seeing here from the Mariners bats. We are back. Let's go. Top of the third, runners at first and second with 2 outs. And Williamson back in the box here. What happened to Dominic Canzone? Canzone is after Solano in the lineup. That's odd. Top of the third, 5-0 Mariners. That one fouled off. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Paddock to Williamson. Jaden in the building, what's good? Top of the third inning, 5-0 Mariners. Runners at first and second. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 pitch from Paddock. That one is fouled off right down the middle. Count still full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second and 2 outs. Can we get 1 more run in this inning to get it to 6 or possibly 7? I don't know. But one thing I do know is we're very good with 2 outs. You know, we can end up scoring 1 to 8 runs with 2 outs, no problem. And we are one of the better 2-out hitting teams in MLB this year. Oh, Dom got out in the first pitch. Top of the third, runners at first and second with 2 outs, 5-0 Mariners. Yeah, that at-bat went real quick. I think I was actually looking at one of my other screens, and when I looked back, I was like, where did Dom go? If the at-bat was so quick, I missed it. 3-2 pitch, and Williamson strikes out looking. So we leave 2 stranded, but we score a shitload in that inning. And now the Twins are probably thinking, fuck, this is just like yesterday. Now we're pacing to score 10 runs or more again. We won yesterday 11-2. And even though it looked, pretty, bleak early on within the first couple innings, we score 5 in the third. And just like that, 5-0 Mariners. Not very many teams can do what we just did right there. Let's do a quick recap of that amazing inning that we just had. All right, Julio Rodriguez in the top of the third, sac fly to right with bases loaded. Williamson scores. Cole Young went to third, 1-0 Mariners. Then later in that particular inning, Cal Raleigh singles to right. Cole Young scores. Crawford to second, 2-0 Mariners. Then with bases loaded, Luke Raley got hit by a pitch. Crawford scores, 3-0 Mariners. And then Donovan Solano, obviously keeping the hot streak going. That's why I wanted him to play yesterday. Singles to center. Randy Arozarena scores. Cal Raleigh scores, 5-0 Seattle. Way to be, Donovan Solano. 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors, 0 runs, 1 hit, 1 error. And again, Trident's up. Man, what an electric third inning. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We still have half of you in the room that haven't done it yet. We're at 21. There's almost 50 people in the room. Get us to 50 likes on the stream before the stream ends. It really does help with the metrics and the numbers. Takes 1 second. Do your boy a solid. It'd be greatly appreciated. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. First pitch from Castillo to Clemens. Takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. And keep working it, Captain, and all day. We need to get those numbers up, especially with the amount of people that we have in the room. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Clemens. One pitch, big swing and a miss, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Clemens. Let's go, baby. Bottom of the third, 5-0 Seattle. And this is good for guys like Luis Castillo, too, who has been prone to giving up, quite a few homers lately in the last 3 or 4 starts. So far, so good. But at some point, maybe like in the 5th inning, I wouldn't be shocked if Luis gives up 1 or 2, but hopefully he doesn't. But that's kind of been his MO lately. 1-2 pitch. And that one is fouled off with the 4-seam fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 5-0 Mariners. And there it is. I knew it was coming at some point or another. Instead of the fifth inning, it's the batter right here. Cody Clemens, back. See ya. Homers to right, 353 feet. And again, Castillo, when you just know. And again, he's been giving up way too many homers in his last 3 or 4 starts. But hopefully they're solo dingers. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, there's one solo dinger. I'll allow one more. And then hopefully that'll be it for the rest of the day for the Minnesota Twins. And luckily, we don't have Carlos Correa up next. Otherwise, he would probably homer for sure. But we got next up, catcher Ryan Jeffers, who doesn't play every day. First pitch, high and inside, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Now, at least Twins fans feel good that they got on the board. But a 4-run lead, and we're not done. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jeffers. Two 2-1 pitch. That one is fouled off high and inside. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Jeffers. Again, I'll talk about, these gut feelings that I have and just, I'll express how I feel or what I've seen in the past, but again, I was assuming that the homers were going to be coming a little bit later, maybe like right before the 6th inning when he starts to tire out and then maybe giving up a couple back-to-back homers or at least one in the 5th. But, I wasn't anticipating it being right there like 10 seconds after I mentioned it, but that's Luis Castillo for you. But at least we have a 4-run lead. 2-2 pitch, and Jeffers grounds out to second. And we have to be thankful that wasn't Correa, because if Correa was up next after a homer, he would have homered. Next up is Harrison Bader, which we mentioned yesterday, and he did it right when I mentioned it. Next up, for Luis Castillo, left fielder Harrison Bader in the 9-hole. First pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Let's go, Luis. One-0 pitch, high and inside, sinker, 94 miles an hour by La Piedra. 2 balls and no strikes to Harrison Bader. Two-0 pitch, tries to jam the hitter inside with the sinker and does, fouls that one off. Nice souvenir there for a fan. 2 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Bader. 2-1 pitch. That one is 3 feet off the strike zone. 4-seam fastball misses bad by Luis Castillo. 3 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Bader. Come on, Luis. Bring that electricity. And again, if you're going to give up 1 or 2 more homers today, again, they have to be solo shots. Can't be 2-run jacks, 3-run bombs, or grand salamis. And hopefully the bats for the Mariners will continue to dominate, and the bullpen will pitch very well also. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Bizzardo lately as well. Pitch fouled off. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Bader. 3-2 pitch, and another foul ball. 4-seam fastball, low and away. Count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Castillo on the mound, Bader in the box. And Bader flies out to center. There we go, baby. 2 away. Next up for the Twins, 1-for-1, Byron Buxton. Eight more likes to 30. Let's get there. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train. First pitch from Castillo to Buxton. Big swing and a miss. That looked like a Julio swing. Low and away. Misses on that slider. Good pitch by Castillo. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Takes a strike looking, paints that corner beautifully with that slider again. Behind in the count 0-2 to Byron Buxton. What a catch by Julio out there in the outfield. Great job by J-Rod. Bader couldn't believe it. Easily could have been a double there if Julio didn't catch up to that baseball. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Buxton. 1-2 pitch. That one is fouled off inside. Tries to jam the hitter with the sinker. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. 5-1 Mariner lead. .283 average, 17 homers, 47 ribbies by Byron Buxton. With numbers like that, definitely should be in consideration, to be in the All-Star game this year for sure. And Buxton strikes out swinging. There we go. End of the third inning, 5-1 Mariners. And again, you don't want to give up, RBIs and home runs, but again, if it's a solo dinger, we can live with that. And again, 5-1 Seattle after the home run by Cody Clemens, Roger Clemens' son, 353 feet to right field. And again, we have 5 runs in the third. They get 1 in the third. Let's see who's going to score some runs in the fourth. Let's see who's up next for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 1 with a run. Second baseman, Cole Young. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a run. Shortstop, J.P. Crawford. And batting third, 0 for 1 with an RBI and a K, Julio Rodriguez. Hot day here in the Pacific Northwest. And again, we're going to have a few days of a little bit of a heat wave and then a few days of a little bit of a cool down. And again, the warm weather is approaching here in the Pacific Northwest, but we're going to do our best to manage it the best way that we can. First pitch from Paddock to Cole Young, low and away. Curveball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, in play, and Cole Young flies out to right field, 1 away. Hopefully Cole will be able to work the pitch count a little bit deeper next time around. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a run, J.P. Crawford. First pitch high and away with a curveball, 1-0 count. Let's go, JP. We need you, baby. Let's go, Crawdaddy. Top of the fourth inning, 5-1 Seattle. Paddock on the mound, JP in the box. 3-6 record, ERA of 4.48 for Paddock. And we just need JP to do the JP Crawford types of things that he's been doing all season. 1-0 pitch, high and inside with that slider, 95 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes to JP Crawford. 2-0 pitch. That one is fouled off by JP. 2 balls and 1 strike. here in the top of the fourth with 1 out and nobody on. 286 average, 6 homers, and 30 ribbies. 0 for 1 with a sac bunt. And I wouldn't mind seeing JP bunt, a few more times in the game. In play and lined out to left. 2 away. Should have bunted again. I mean, if it worked the first time, it could work again. Next up, 0 for 1 with an RBI and a K, Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. First pitch to Julio Rodriguez. Big swing and a miss. Low and away. 0-1 count. And we'll take singles. We'll take doubles. We'll take triples. And we'll take the home runs. Let's go, Julio. Trident's up. I mean, his defense has been good so far. And he had that sac fly that was deep enough to bring in a run. Had the 2-run homer yesterday. And had a nice, 2-run RBI. Single or double yesterday. So, again, Julio looks like he's starting to turn the corner a little bit. Hopefully he can do it again. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Tries to paint that corner with a curveball. Behind the count now 0-2 from Paddock to Julio. Come on, J-Rod. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Julio getting back to Julio ways. And that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the fourth inning. Come on, J-Rod. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Twins here in the bottom of the fourth. Next up for the Twins, DHing in the 2-hole, 0 for 1, Trevor Larnach. Batting second, 0 for 1, third baseman Brooks Lee. And batting third, 0 for 1, shortstop Carlos Correa. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Five runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Mariners. 1 run, 2 hits, and an error for the Twins. And we've been able to get our audience to grow. Now we're at 3,000 regular viewers that come to the channel, which is fantastic all over the globe. 40% on a cell phone, 40% on a TV, 15 on a computer, 5 on a tablet, all different age ranges, 89% male, 11% female. And then obviously with the geography, United States, Venezuela, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Philippines, Canada, Japan, Colombia, India, Panama, New Zealand, Australia, just to name a few of the countries that watch on a regular basis. If you are in the room and you're watching from the United States or beyond, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And again, we have a long ways to go, obviously, to be able to get to the goals that we want on the channel. But every day is a blessing with you guys, obviously, here. Appreciate you guys very much. First pitch from Luis Castillo to Trevor Larnach. Takes a strike looking. Low in the zone. Slider 83 miles an hour by La Piedra. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking. Low and away to Trevor Larnach. Behind in the count 0-2 for Luis Castillo. Let's go, Luis. (0-2) pitch. Low and away, tries to paint the corner and misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no out. Bottom of the fourth inning, 5-1 Mariners. And after this inning is over, we'll do a comparison of the pitchers, based on Ks, pitch count, ERA, and all the stats that we typically go over. Bottom of the fourth inning, 5-1 Seattle. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 5-1 Mariner lead. Let's go. 1-2 pitch in play. And a nice double by Larnach. I see you, Trevor. Next up is third baseman Brooks Lee. Cody repping Kansas, huh? We got a lot of people all over the globe, but a lot of people, in the Pacific Northwest, California, people in the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, people in the Northeast with New York, people in the South, Nolans and Florida, Georgia. We got them all over the place. So bottom of the fourth, 5-1 Seattle, runner at second with no outs. First pitch from Castillo to Brooks Lee, fouls it off low and away. Change up 87 miles an hour, 0-1 count. One pitch, and that one is in play, and nice RBI single by Brooks Lee, and just like that, 5-2 Seattle. And safe at second base. Nice effort there by Brooks Lee. Now we got to be careful here, because now you got Carlos Correa up, and at any given moment he can homer. And, in a blink of an eye, if Luis doesn't settle down, it's going to be 5-4. And again, if that happens and the momentum shifts to the Twins, I don't know what's going to happen later on in the matchup, but again, this is a point in the matchup where Luis needs to settle the fuck down. Otherwise, this is going to extend from 1-2, 2-3, 2-4, and, possibly 2-5. So we got to be very careful here with it being 5-2 now with no outs with a runner at first. First pitch from Castillo to Correa, takes a strike looking, paints the corner, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, in play. And Correa with a single to right. Now, at this point right here, if we had the depth, I would pull Castillo right now if it was me. Just because it looks like if we keep him in the rest of the inning and in the fifth, the game is going to be 5-4 or 5-5 based on how he's pitching. It's not very likely that the score is still going to be 5-2, by the time the fifth inning or sixth inning comes around. And now you got runners at first and second with no outs. And normally when that happens, in the fifth inning, that's when you pull a guy, because if you wait, eventually the big 3-run homer, after like one out, is going to happen. And so we'll see what happens. And I know they're not going to pull him here. They're going to let him pitch as long as he possibly can. But now with Brash and Bizzardo pitching well as some of the other role players, Vargas and, obviously Trent Thornton, Legomina, Pop, I feel that, we have enough depth and the pitching has been good in the pen that if we were to pull Castillo now, that could be a good move. But again, mark my words, let's see where we go from here. It's 5-2 with runners at first and second and no outs. And again, is it possible if we pull him now, bring someone in, we get fucked up also? Yeah, but again, now with 3 consecutive balls to Matt Wallner, we're in a bad position here. You have to recognize the signs when things are going good and when things are hitting the wall. And right now, Luis is all over the place. And in a matter of 1 or 2 more batters, we could end up having a tie game. And I don't want to lose this game. 3-0 pitch. Fouls that one off low and away. If he didn't swing at that, that could have been ball 4, and then it would have been bases loaded, no outs, and that they would have scored at least 1 or 2. And they still may here in the bottom of the fourth. Got to get out of this jam. And there it is. A 5-pitch walk. Now you got bases loaded and no outs. And like I said, if we would have pulled them with runners at first and second with no outs, you pull them. I get it. It's the 4th inning. But again, stop being everyone's friend. You have to be able to understand when a guy has got good stuff and a guy has nothing. And he's already given up, the big home run. He's already given up, a lot of hits up to this point. He hasn't been dominant on the mound. It's not like he's got, 6, 7, 8 Ks at the moment. He's got 2, right? Paddock has got 4. When you got a guy that normally can give you 5 to 10 Ks and he's at 2 and he's looking shaky, fucking pull him. But again, I know that they won't. So hopefully we'll figure out how much damage is done. But they're going to score 1 to 4 runs this inning, guaranteed. It just depends on how many. It'll be they're not like us where they could have bases loaded with no outs and get nothing. That's something the Mariners do, but I don't know if the Twins would do that. And we got Ty France here in the box with bases loaded. And Ty, I love you, and I want you to have a great series. I want you to get some hits and even some home runs once in a while, but not right here. I can't have you do it here and have it be 6-5 Minnesota. First pitch from Castillo to France. Takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. But again, it's not just Luis Castillo. It's Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu, Emerson Hancock, and Luis Castillo. All of them have not been good recently, besides the George Kirby 14K game and then Logan Gilbert's first start back with 10. But other than those two starts, all the starting pitching hasn't been good, but the bullpen has gotten good and the hitting has gotten great. So we've been able to kind of, hide the blemishes, so to speak, a little bit when we're giving up 4 runs or more from our starting pitcher. But, this is not what I want to see. 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled off, high and inside, behind in the count 0-2 from Castillo to France. 0-2 pitch, low and away by Luis Castillo. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ty France, the former Seattle Mariner. Oh, I appreciate that. And hopefully we can end up, getting a few. I don't need to be rich. I just want to be able to be appreciated for the hard work that I put in every day and, just pay the basic stuff, the basic internet, streaming fees, being able to buy dog food for my pup so she can have a happy life, just the basic stuff to continue my dream on a day-to-day basis. And that one is in play on the 1-2 pitch. And France grounds out into the double play, so at least we got that. But Lee scores 5-3 Mariners, and that could have been much, much worse right there. So again, good thing by Ty, hitting into the double play, but they still got a runner at third, and we're only up by 2. And next up is Cody Clemens, and he's the one that ended up giving you the solo dinger. We can't have him homer again, otherwise it's going to be 5-5. And it sucks when you end up, being a team where runs don't come easy to the Mariners. I mean, lately they've been coming pretty easy, but normally, when we're not on a 9 consecutive series win streak, we played like shit for a month and a half. We did sweep the Guardians. We did win 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, scored 7 runs or more in 3 consecutive games, and that carried over to yesterday, winning 11-2. But obviously the pitching from the starters needs to be better. 2-0 pitch, high and away. Another 3-0 count from Castillo to Clemens. Pull him. Should have pulled him a long time ago. But again, they're worried about, the bullpen, the bullpen. But, if you've actually been paying attention, the bullpen has actually been pretty good lately. The weakest link right now is starting pitching, even though we have one of the, best starters. And there you go. Another 5 pitch walk. Come on now. Now you got runners at first and third with 2 outs. And you better pray that you don't get a 3-run jack right here and we're down 6-5. Now runners on first and third with 2 outs. Catcher Ryan Jeffers. With 1 swing, it could be 6-5. Also with 1 swing, it could be 6-4 with an RBI single. Got to find a way to get Jeffers out. Bottom of the 4th, 5-3 Seattle. Runners on the corners at first and third. Jeffers in the box. Castillo on the mound. First pitch, low and away with the slider. 1-0 count. MMA in the building. What's good? Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to, be on a heater, forever. At some point it's going to end, but when we won 9 consecutive series in a row early in the year, we were averaging 6 runs a game or more for a month and a half. And I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but we're probably the healthiest we've been all year, and the bats have come alive, and a lot of the players that were shitty at the beginning of the year are getting hot now, and so everything is kind of coming together at the right time, right before the All-Star break. First pitch, low and away to Jeffers, 1-0 count. And just like that, 1-0 pitch, should have pulled the Castillo when I mentioned, and a big hit. Jeffers doubles to left. Clemens scores, Correa scores, and just like that, 5-5 Mariners and Twins. What did I say? I told you guys, when the score was 5-2, and you had runners at first and second with no outs, pull him. And again, if you don't, the game could end up being tied, or we could be down 1. And look at that, with about 5 minutes after I mentioned my comment, and we're sitting at now a tie game, which is ridiculous. This is a game that we should have easily won. But again, starting pitching hasn't been good, and Dan Wilson has to recognize the signs. Hell, if I'm a super fan and I can recognize the signs, why can't professionals in MLB recognize when to pull a guy? Tell me that. And again, I'm not normal. I'm a guy that reads and watches film 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I do this as obviously my dream job, streaming games 7 days a week. But again, if someone like me as a super fan can recognize the signs, somebody in that Mariner, dugout and clubhouse needs to understand that you have to pull guys. You can't just let guys go 6 innings and just to see what happens, and that's kind of the mantra for Dan Wilson. He puts a guy in there and he just says, fuck it, we'll see what happens. You can't have that mentality. See what fucking happens. Yeah, we just did. And now we're, tied up 5-5 instead of being up by 3 or 4 runs. Terrible managing by Dan Wilson. It's like Scott Service all over again. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking, behind in the count 0-2 to Byron Buxton. And with one swing by Buxton, it could end up being a big trouble. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Buxton, but the damage is done. And we get out of the 4th inning, but we don't get out of it unscathed. When, we're sitting at a 5-1 lead, and then all of a sudden you let the Twins score fucking 4. And I told you the moment that it was going to happen, and again, I have these gut feelings, just like I mentioned with Carlos Correa. If you have someone homer before him and he's the next one at bat, chances are he's going to homer, right? 30 seconds after I said that last night, he homered, right? And I told you when we were up 5-1 with runners at first and second and no outs, and he was pitching wildly, you pull him, otherwise the game is going to be tied or worse. And what happened? A few batters later, a hit here, a hit there, and now we're tied. Now we can still win this game, but this could have been prevented if you just pulled Luis Castillo and had some fucking pride and understood the assignment. Come on, Dan. Hip in the building. What's good? Well, it's too late to pull him now. I mean, if you were already going to pull him, you should have pulled him at that particular time. And now they're probably going to keep him in the 5th, because they're not very bright. Got to be better, and that's the difference between having an average manager, a good manager, and an elite manager are the ones that notice the signs early and have seen these patterns in the past, when guys get shaky, whether that's the 4th inning or the 5th inning with 2 guys on, 1st and 2nd or 2nd and 3rd with no outs. You pull them. I don't give a shit if it's Scooball or Skeens. You fucking pull them. And then again, if you do it, chances are, you'll be able to, get out of the inning a little bit better than keeping that guy in. And now we have ourselves a shootout when we should still have a 4-run lead. Let's go to the top of the 5th and let's see if we can take the lead over again. Next up, 2 for 2 with a run and an RBI. Catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Left side, no problem. Right side, no problem. Tight ends up all day, every day. Let's go, big dumper. Batting second, DHing for the Mariners, Randy Arozarena. And batting third, playing left field for Randy today, Luke Raley. Tight ends up. Top of the 5th, 5-5 tie. And again, unexcusable. You have to recognize the signs. And again, I'm one of those people that watches every pitch, every game, beginning to end. If anyone is an expert on this team, it's me. And again, someone in that Mariners clubhouse or dugout, there's a lot of people that do content creation for the Mariners, but you best believe they're not going to be on my level. And again, there'll be many, many times that we're going to be able to predict the future before it happens. And hopefully Dan Wilson will get the message. 2-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking on the line inside. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Big dumper in the box. Paddock on the mound. 3-6 record. ERA of 4.48 for Chris Paddock. And big dumper leading the MLB with 32 homers. Let's see if we can get another one in this game to get to 33. Let's go. 2-1 pitch, and he flies out, 1 away. Well, again, we can have a lot of guys go 2 innings. Pop can go 2 innings. We saw that obviously yesterday Vargas can go 2 innings. Brash can go 2 innings. I mean, almost everyone. Bizzardo can go 2 innings. So that's not really valid, Jason. You know, we have plenty of guys that even Trent Thornton can go 2 innings if we want him to. But now it just depends on what route we want to go because we don't get to see Brash and Munoz every day. So it's going to be the other guys. Even Gabe Spire can go 2 innings, but Gabe has been unreliable lately. So, you know, we have to kind of, you know, see where this goes. But it wouldn't have been crazy to pull him, you know, in the 4th inning. Of course, the goal is for a pitcher to go 6 innings and best case scenario 7, but you have to recognize the signs when a pitcher is off and he doesn't have his stuff anymore. And if that ends up being in the 4th inning with runners at 1st and 2nd and no outs, or in the 5th inning with runners at 1st and 2nd with no outs, that's the exact time you pull. Because every time that you don't pull a pitcher, when you have guys at 1st and 2nd, 2nd and 3rd with no outs, they always score. Name one time that a team hasn't scored in that situation against the Mariners. It always fucking happens. Again, you know, I'm a guy that watches every game beginning to end. I would know. Rayleigh pops out to 3rd, and that was a very quick inning for the Seattle Mariners. 1, 2, 3. See ya. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for Minnesota. But literally every reliever that we got, you know, besides Colin Snyder can go 2. And even Colin could go 2, but he can't now because he's still on the injured list. You know, but again, we've seen most of the guys, you know, even the shitty ones can go 2 innings. So, you know, we definitely fucked up an opportunity there. You know, when we were up 5-1, I would have brought in Brash, you know, had him pitch an inning or 2. And then, you know, you could always bring in Bizzardo again. You know, you want to make sure you're going with your strong guys. But now at 5-5, you know, you're probably not going to see Brash or Bizzardo today. Now you're going to have to be, you know, bringing in Vargas, Trent Thornton, Legumina, Pop, guys like that. So then you just got to hope that those guys can play up to the Bizzardo Brash level and they don't fuck the game up like fucking Luis Castillo just did. And we have to hope that the bats, you know, don't get cold. You know, we're still going to need to score a few more runs to win this. Next up, 1 for 2 with a run, DHing Trevor Larnach. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run in the RBI, third baseman Brooks Lee. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, shortstop Carlos Correa. Trident's up. Let's go M's. That was terrible. Shouldn't have never got to that point. And again, it's still possible, you know, that, you know, you could have brought in Vargas and he could have given up the same amount of runs. But at least I want to be able to see Dan manage, you know, show me that you understand when to pull a guy, you know. And again, right now he doesn't. He just lets a guy start and kind of sees what happens. And again, we're not going to be able to make a deep run in the playoffs with that kind of mentality. You know, you have to understand when a guy is losing his stuff and then you pull him. And I don't give a shit if it's the 4th or the 5th inning, you fucking pull him. And again, if you don't, you will pay. And the Mariners paid heavily. First pitch from Castillo to Larnach, who's out there still. I wouldn't have him out there in the 5th, but that's Dan Wilson for you. 0-1 count. 5 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Twins. 5 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Mariners. 0-1 pitch in play and grounds out to second, throw to first, 1 away. Now, if this was like a month ago, then I would say, hell, we don't got very many guys that can pitch in the bullpen because we were terrible back then, you know. But since we've been on our heater since sweeping the Guardians, everyone has been doing pretty fucking well in the pen. Besides Gabe Spire, he might be the only guy that is a liability right now. I mean, and as far as talent-wise, he's like Julio. He's one of like the top 3 guys at their position, you know, and on the team, you know, at what they do. But just lately, you know, Julio finally has turned it around, but for a while, you know, especially in June, Julio was terrible. And Gabe was a guy, you know, giving up wild pitches and having runs score, you know, giving up big home runs and big RBIs. And that's not the Gabe that we want to see. We want to see the dominant lefty, you know, punch out 3 guys in a row or have an easy inning. But, you know, every player is going to go through the ups and downs in a 162-game season. Luis Castillo, 4.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, 89 pitches, 55 strikes. 58 strikes, 3.70 ERA. Paddock, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks, 80 pitches, 51 strikes, 4.64 ERA. And down goes Brooks Lee, end of the 5th inning. Let's go to the top of the 6th. Bay. Let's go. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2, Donovan Solano. Let's go, Donovan. Batting second, 0 for 2, Dominic Canzone. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run and a K, third baseman, Big Ben Williamson. Top of the 6th inning, 5-5. We're knotted up. Appreciate you. And I assume that was you right there. And we're on the board. Appreciate you. $10 holla. Thank you so much. 90 to go. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Let me know what you want to do for a photo. If there's a particular player that you want me to showcase, and I got you. We're at 10, 90 to go on the Dono train. And Paddock's day is done, and they're going to be bringing in another pitcher, Varland. All right, Paddock's final line, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. And they, pulling him with, only 80 pitches. So at least the Twins know, when they feel uncomfortable with someone, they pull the trigger. But unfortunately, Dan Wilson doesn't do the same. And Solano with a 1-1 pitch, knuckle curve, and singles to left. Man, Donovan has been so fucking hot lately. And it's crazy to think this guy was terrible at the beginning of the year, and now he's like must-see TV. Let's go. Next up, 0 for 2. We're the runner at first, Donovan Solano. Right fielder, Dominic Canzone. And again, we got 5 runs in 1 inning, but then gave up 4 by not pulling Castillo with runners at first and second with no outs when I said we should. And just like that, they score 4, and we'll see where it goes from here. But hopefully we can fuck up Varland here, who's now in for the Minnesota Twins. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Varland to Canzone. Let's go, Dom. I got you. 1-1 pitch. And Canzone grounds out. 1 away. Next up is Ben Williamson. 1 for 2 with a run and a K. I'm going to send the photos to Captain's X account so I can pull them from there. But again, it's my most coveted jersey, my most expensive jersey, and I got a lot of them. You know, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like a sneakerhead in jerseys. I'm not like a jersey fanatic, but I do have quite a bit. I think between Mariners, Oregon Ducks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Portland Trail Blazers, between my four major teams that I follow and whatnot, I got over 20. So I don't know if that's considered a big collection of jerseys. I've seen some people that got a lot more than me, that have 30, 40, 50 or more, but I guess 20 is a pretty big number, for most people that only have a couple. But let me pull up this right here, and I'll be able to show you some crispy photos that I just took of those jerseys here recently. And then I can show you in real life with what it looks like here on the screen. But again, it's a very coveted jersey. It's one of the most coveted, rare jerseys that's out there. The jersey itself, with Varland on the mound and Cole Young in the box. 0-2 pitch, high and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Varland to Cole Young. But the jersey itself, with the vest jersey, typically goes for a pretty high number. It's usually somewhere between $350 and $550 for just the vested jersey from back in the day. And then obviously the matching turtleneck, I've never seen one on eBay ever. So again, and it's matching with the same company with the Russell Athletic, who made the jerseys back then. And again, it's almost like a Mitchell and Ness quality, and that's why they're so expensive and so rare. This is what it looks like. I haven't worn it on stream, and I don't really wear it when I go to Mariner games because it's like a $500-$600 type of thing, and I don't want to spill mustard or a hot dog, ketchup on it or beer. Again, you can wash it and whatnot, but this was from a private collector that only wore it a couple times, never outside, kept it in a plastic bag like I have now moving forward. And, you want to make sure you're taking care of, high-end jerseys like that, just like with sports cards and whatnot. But I think that the matching turtleneck, since I've never seen another one, that normally a t-shirt or a long sleeve tee, normally even if it's vintage, maybe like $50, $75. But for this one, it's well over $100 because again, I've never seen one before, but that's what it looks like. And that's the type of thing that Ken Griffey Jr. would wear. But as you can see, the stitching is immaculate. It's like Mitchell and Ness. It's got the Mariners on the turtleneck with the MLB symbol. You can't find another one like that. They just don't fucking exist. And again, that's why years ago when I saw it on eBay and the guy was offering it for $350, I was like, I didn't have the money for it at the time, so I had to have my friend front me the money, until I paid him back. I was like, you got to get this for me now, because if I don't get it now, I'm never going to get it. It's like a one of one. You're going to be able to find the vested jersey, but you're never going to be able to find that undershirt that's matching, that goes with it. And again, you usually only see a couple on eBay of the jersey itself, the vested jersey, maybe 2, 3 at a time, and usually they're $350, $450, $500, $550 for just the jersey. And then again, the undershirt easily $100, $150 just because you can't find them. And again, I go on eBay all the time and I've never ever seen one. And again, definitely my most coveted authentic jersey. And I would want it even over a Mitchell and Ness because it's the original OG jerseys that they wore for that high-end material. So now we got Gabe Spire in the matchup. Yeah, they definitely need to bring those back. And again, like for me, I'm a collector, so like this Ken Griffey Jr. gray throwback jersey I have, I got this from Japan. And again, some of these jerseys, from collectors, they would have like the Seattle in the front or Mariners in the front, but they wouldn't have the number. But I always want to make sure if I'm finding like the throwback stuff, if I can find the authentic one that has the 24 on the front, like this one, rather than just Seattle on the front, I look for those extra details. And I'm always looking for the original fire stuff. We got Gabe Spire in the game, and hopefully we get the good Gabe here. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Wallner. And we need the good Gabe here today. And he's obviously been a liability, but just like I told you, we're probably not going to see Brash or Bizzardo. You just have to recognize that, what happens on a day in, day out basis, with this team, and you have to pay attention to who plays and who doesn't. But hopefully we can still keep the game close. And also be able to produce a few more runs to squeak this out. But if we lose this game, it's on Luis Castillo and Dan Wilson. We should have pulled them. And again, they waited too long, and we paid the price for it. 2-2 pitch. That's fouled off. 2-2. And Wallner, go. And he gets into second base for a double. Nice hit by Wallner down that first base line all the way to the wall. Next up, 0 for 2, first baseman Ty France. Come on, Gabe. You used to be the number 2 pitcher on the squad. Now, I don't even know what number you are. You might be the worst one out of everyone. It's just kind of crazy. I'll show you this Griffey that I got on with the little subtle details. But definitely the first time and probably the last time that I would ever buy a used jersey for over $300. But again, if it's a Mitchell and Ness or an original, like Russell Athletic, the authentic jerseys that the Mariners wore, back in like 95, 96, 97, that one is from, 97. So, back, and it was from that time period. So imagine, buying a Mitchell and Ness jersey really before Mitchell and Ness jerseys were a thing, the authentic. And as you guys know, when you see certain baseball, and football jerseys that are authentic, some of the stitched ones, the real ones, not the fake bootlegs from China, they're expensive, $300, $400, $500. And imagine paying $300, $400, $500 back then in 1997, and then having the matching turtleneck with it. And again, like I've looked and looked and looked, and I've never, in 15 to 20 years, I have never been able to find that matching turtleneck separately ever. So, I assume that piece alone is worth $100, $150. So total, probably $550, for the combo set, 4 for the jersey and maybe $100, $150 for the underneath, turtleneck. Bottom of the 6th with a runner at third now with 1 out. Gabe Spire struggling, and now comes in pinch hitting Willie Castro. Come on, Gabe. Let me get the Willie Castro up here. First pitch, high and inside with the 4-seam fastball. 1-0 count. Gabe Spire on the mound. Willie Castro in the box, pinch hitting. 1-0 pitch, fouls that one off, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at third. We're knotted up at 5. But when you're up 5-0 and then you go up 5-1 after giving up a solo dinger to Cody Clemens, Roger Clemens' son, recognize the signs. And again, I think Dan Wilson is a good manager, better than Scott Service, but he's not great like Lou Piniella or elite like Lou Piniella. And you got to be able to have someone that understands when to pull a guy and when not to pull a guy. And obviously Dan is not very skilled in that department yet. As Castro on the 1-1 pitch, in play, fouls out and flies out to right, 2 away. Down goes Willie. Next up is Ryan Jeffers. Bottom of the 6th with a runner at third and 2 outs. We're knotted up at 5. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 50 likes before the stream ends. And we're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go. Yeah, but I would never, trade or sell that jersey. Like I said, I could always find another vested jersey, but also the problem is for those, authentic jerseys from 97, they don't have every single size. Sometimes you're going to find one on eBay that's a small, sometimes you're going to find a medium, you're going to find like a 40 or a 44, or you can find a 48, like an extra large, or a 52 for like an extra large. But again, you normally aren't going to be able to have a big selection. Usually you'll find maybe one per size if you're lucky, and you probably won't have all of them available at the same time. So, but again, it's just crazy that turtleneck is so rare. But again, it really does complete the look, that you would want. And like I said, I've only worn it to one Mariner game with my dad when we went to go see the Dodgers. And in that particular game, I ended up missing a foul ball by literally inches. And I remember this was before I got my first ball by Kike Hernandez the next game after, when me and my dad went on a road trip, and the ball went underneath the seat of the guy next to me, and he was eating a nacho helmet, and he had beers down there. And I reached below, but I didn't want to be like underneath his, crotch area, reaching around, with him and his girlfriend there, and he had like beers down there, and I didn't want to knock him over. I didn't want to be an asshole, but there was a guy in a row in front of us that, obviously the way that the seats go, they're kind of level, right? So when he turned around, he was eye level to the bottom of the seat. So he just knocked over the guy's beers. He had like two $12 tall boys. He gave no fucks, just knocked him over and grabbed the ball. And I remember looking over to my dad and being like, fuck, Dad. Like, I was literally like 3 inches away from getting a ball, and, I tried to grab it and get it, but I was kind of looking blindly, because I couldn't really see like the other guy in the row in front of me. But I had a good feeling that I would still be able to get a ball in that series. And then went to sleep. We had a great breakfast. And then later in that second game, in the first inning, I had this weird feeling. And then an usher was walking up the aisle and said, "This is a foul ball zone. Keep your head on a swivel." 30 seconds later, we end up getting Kike Hernandez in the box when the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead on the Mariners. And in slow motion, this ball is coming right at me. And a guy in one row in front of me on the aisle had a glove, and he missed it twice, and it hit the ground. I slid past the grandma and grandpa when I was in the third row, and grabbed it with my offhand, my left hand. After this other guy with the ZZ Top beard dropped it twice, he body checked me from behind, and then ended up making my knees bleed, but I got the ball. I didn't drop it. And then I ended up getting that first ball for the souvenir. As we see Carlos Vargas enter the game and finish, obviously, what Gabe Speier could not finish with a runner at third and 2 outs. Gabe is such a liability now. Again, he didn't give up any runs, but he definitely doesn't look like the guy that we trust. And, it's crazy to say, but he might be one of the more untrustworthy guys in the pen right now. He's still he's got a good name, recognition, Gabe Speier as a lefty, but I don't really trust him. So, but at least we didn't give up any runs there. And nice job by Carlos Vargas, another guy that's extremely wild that I don't trust. But luckily, he was able to get the 1 out there on Jeffers. And we're at the top of the 7th inning with a 5-5 score. And the really crazy thing is that after the guy ended up knocking the guy's beers over, he didn't even apologize. It was a Dodger fan, and the guy that I was sitting next to was a Dodger fan, and maybe that's why he let it go, but it was just kind of odd that, the guy wouldn't apologize. He just was so crazy about getting the baseball. And I get it, like I said, I got that Kike Hernandez ball. That was my first, and then I was hooked. And then a few years later in 2022, I got a Julio rookie foul ball. When they played the Royals and Bobby Witt Jr. in the 9th inning, went to the bathroom. It was full, went back down to my seat. 30 seconds later, it ended up hitting one of the guardrails and almost right into my lap. And then I got a Julio ball. And then 2 weeks later, I predicted that I would get an Aaron Judge ball when I would see the Yankees. And that was the year that Aaron hit 62 home runs. And believe it or not, I got an Aaron Judge ball in that game as well. So I've got a pretty good track record. I've been to 8 or 9 games, and I've gotten 3 baseballs. But also, I got 2 AAA baseballs from the Portland Beavers. That was the Minnesota Twins affiliate back in the early 90s when they had Kirby Puckett and were winning World Series. And I got 2 baseballs back then. So, I've gotten 5 in my life. So I know how to get them. I'm a honey badger. I'm not going to knock over any kids. I'm not going to be a dickhead or an asshole. If a kid is there, it's obviously going to go to them. But if it's me and a bunch of adults, there's no way in hell an adult is going to get a ball over me. No way, no fucking hell. Top of the 7th, 5-5, Mariners and Twins. And I'm going to be going to the July 4th game this year where we went last year, where I got this hat that you see me on stream wearing now, where we played the Orioles and we ended up winning that game. We got tickets for Paul Skeens, hopefully, and I'm hoping to get a Paul Skeens Cal Raleigh foul ball, and hopefully I can get one. Top of the 7th, we're knotted up at 5. The only bad thing is my best friend has been to like 100 games. He used to live in LA also, and he's been to like probably 50 to 100 games total between the Dodgers and the Mariners, and he's never gotten a ball. So I really want to try to get him a ball at some point, in my lifetime with him going together. So, but I really want that Skeens Cal if Skeens is pitching. And that was a quick one there from JP Crawford, 1 away. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Jack's on the mound, Julio in the box. First pitch, takes a strike looking to Julio Rodriguez, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away with the sinker. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jax to Julio. Let's go, Julio. We need you to step up, baby. Let's go. One pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Jax to Julio. Top of the 7th, 5-5, Mariners and Twins. But again, when we were up 5-1, it was the 4th inning. Castillo was wild, and we had runners at first and second and no outs. And I said, if we don't pull them, they're going to end up tying the game or getting at least a 4. And a few batters later, that's exactly what happened. And again, I hope that, Dan Wilson and the team watches film, like football players and football coaches do. Because again, you have to recognize the signs, when to pull a pitcher. And that's the number one time, no matter who you have, Skeens, Scooball, Logan Gilbert, doesn't matter. If you're in the 4th or 5th inning and you have no outs and runners at first and second and third, you pull them. Because if you don't, you will fucking pay. Every fucking time. 2-2 pitch, and that one is fouled off by Julio Rodriguez. Right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. We have to win this game. We don't want to drop a game when we had a 5-0 lead. 2-2 pitch, and Julio back to his old ways, striking out swinging. 2 away. I guess the Julio getting back off the schneid only lasted 1 game, but we still hopefully have 1 more at-bat for him in the 9th. All right, next up, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. All right, Cal, we need you. 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI, which would be a great time for a solo jack. Lefty, righty, no problem. Trident's up. Let's go. First pitch, low and away with the sweeper. 1-0 count. Even Cal back in his Florida State days, baby. Let's go. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jax to Raleigh. Come on, big dumper. Nice. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Every single baseball that I've gotten, even the ones on the AAA Portland Beavers in 1992 when I was 10, the Minnesota Twins affiliate, no glove. And I refuse to bring a glove when I go to a game. If you can't get a ball without a glove, you don't deserve to get a ball. And, of course, you have a huge advantage with a mitt. If you've played baseball or you play catch with your dad or the fellas, you have that athletic ability where you know how to grip a mitt and you know how to, catch a fucking baseball, that's coming at you, but every single ball that I've gotten, I've gotten with my bare hands, and hopefully I'll be able to get a a Skeens Cal Raleigh if Skeens pitches on the 4th of July. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping that that's what we have. And obviously, we know that we have a chance to lose if Skeens is on the mound. But obviously, I want to be able to see Skeens in person. And, probably the next guy that I would want to be able to see is Skubal whenever that, may come, whether it be a couple years from now, whenever that may be. But definitely want to see Skubal in his prime, too. 2-1 pitch. And down goes Cal Raleigh. Damn it, Cal. Go to the bottom of the 7th inning. We're still knotted up at 5. Next up for the Minnesota Twins here in the bottom of the 7th, 1 for 2. Left fielder in the 9-hole, Harrison Bader. Batting second, 1 for 3 with 2 Ks, center fielder Byron Buxton. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a run, DHing today, Trevor Larnach. Four likes to 40. Let's get there. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 50 likes before the stream ends. We're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go. I need to go grab a water here real quick. Ran out of water a while back. In play on the 1-0 pitch, and Bader popped out to second by Vargas there, 1 away. Bader down, 1 out. Next up for the Twins, 1 for 3 with 2 Ks, Byron Buxton. First pitch from Vargas to Buxton. Takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes another strike looking inside. Should be 2-0 count, but it is 0-2. A little generous there by the ump. Carlos Vargas on the mound. Buxton in the box. 0-2 pitch. Fouled off low and away. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. We had a 5-0 lead, but Dan Wilson and Luis Castillo fucked all that up when we were up 5-1. They ended up scoring 4, and now we're sitting at a 5-5 tie, and it's anybody's game. And again, this is not one that we want to lose, especially being up 5-0. It'd be a disaster. If we end up losing this game, there's a chance that we could lose tomorrow, and we want to try to win 3 out of 4. And Buxton on the 0-2 pitch flies out, 2 away. There we go. Good defense there by the Mariners. Next up for Minnesota, 1 for 3 with a run, DHing Trevor Larnach. Bottom of the 7th with 2 outs. We got to find a way to win. Even if we only win 6-5, again, we'll take it. You just have to remember, these particular instances. And again, that's the number one rule, when you got guys at first and second or second and third and no outs, and it's the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th, you pull them. And if you don't, you will pay. I mean, it's I don't think the average baseball fan recognizes that. And obviously even the average manager doesn't recognize that. They're too stubborn. But, you don't want to bring the bullpen in the 4th inning. But if you would have, maybe we would still have a 3 or 4 run lead. Just saying. Got to understand how to manage and coach. Hell, I could coach better. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Vargas to Larnach. Appreciate you too, Nick. Hey, but everyone, was on the same level. We have to be real, right? Mitch Garver still is one of the worst players on the team. Donovan Solano and Trent Thornton were also 2 of the worst on the team at the beginning of the year. But now as we go, about a month before the All-Star break, Garver still sucks, right? Thornton has gotten slightly better. Same thing with Garver, slightly better, right? But they still are not that good. And then Donovan Solano at one point was batting under 100, but started the year 4 for 40, batting 100. But now, within the last couple weeks, he's one of the hottest players on the team. So you never know, when that guy's going to get hot. And obviously bringing up Dominic Canzone and, having Leody Taveras walk, keeping Donovan Solano over Rowdy Tellez made some people kind of maybe scratch their heads, but it was the right decision. 3-0 pitch, and that's a 4-pitch walk to Trevor Larnach. And that's one thing about Carlos Vargas, it seems like he doesn't have any control. He just tries to throw through the hitters, and he can't hit the strike zone very often. And when you pitch like that, where you're so wild, you're going to hit guys, you're going to walk guys, and you're going to give up hits and RBIs and big home runs. It always makes me nervous with Vargas on the mound. First pitch, low and at the knees with the sinker, 1-0 count. Brooks Lee in the box, Vargas on the mound. Got to get him out here. And Vargas does his job. There we go. So again, even guys that, we don't really trust very much, right? Got the job done. So again, Castillo, was very shaky throughout his whole outing, right? If we would have put in Gabe Spire or Vargas earlier in the 4th inning, what's the score? It definitely isn't 5-5. Maybe they score 1 or 2, but I imagine we were still up by 2 runs. At the very most, it's 5-3 if they would have pulled Castillo when I mentioned, but hopefully we can still find a way for the bats to light up here in these last 2 innings. Let's see who's up here for the Mariners. Who's going to be the hero? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Brooks Lee flied out to the shortstop there on that last out, and hopefully we can get the job done here. Next up, 0 for 2 with a run and a base on ball, DHing normally or playing left field, Randy Arozarena. And obviously having Luke Raley play left today, you got Randy DHing. Let's go, Randy. Batting second, playing left field for Randy today, Luke Raley. Let's go, Nuke. We need you, baby. And batting third, one of the hottest players on the team, first baseman Donovan Solano. Keep it going, baby. Especially when guys like Julio are slumping, we need guys to step up. And Donovan Solano essentially is giving us what we thought Julio would be able to do on a regular basis. So even though Julio still is struggling, at least we got Donovan to pick up the slack. Let's go. Let's keep grinding it out all day in Captain. Let's get to 50. We got 2 innings to go. If we go extra innings, we should be able to get a little bit of a lift. And we got at least 20 people in the room that haven't smashed the like button yet. Do your boy a solid. We're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go. I put my blood, sweat, and tears in every fucking stream on here. There's not very many people that are going to grind it out 7 days a week. Even recording on my birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it doesn't matter. I grind it out. So if people can't donate or comment or don't feel to do that or choose not to do that, that's fine. That's totally on you. But hit that like button so that way you can help out the metrics for the channel. Top of the 8th, 5-5 Mariners and Twins. Stewart on the mound. Brock Stewart, Randy Arozarena in the box. First pitch from Stewart to Randy. High and away. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Come on, Randy. 1-0 pitch in play and fouled out to left. 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2 with an RBI, left fielder, Luke Raley. And we really need a solo dinger here in the 8th or the 9th inning to take the lead. Let's go. On deck, Donovan Solano. First pitch to Luke Raley, fouls one off right down the middle with the cutter, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Let's go, Luke. We need you, baby. Top of the 8th, we're knotted up at 5. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees with a cutter by Brock Stewart. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. 5-5, Mariners and Twins knotted up. And again, I'll go over a breakdown of how we got to this particular score once we get out of this inning. And hopefully once the inning is over, we'll be up at least 6-5. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Stewart to Raley. 2 more likes to 40, let's get there. We still got 12 more likes to hit before the stream ends, and we got 2 innings to go unless we go extras. Let's go, baby. One-two pitch, low and away with that changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. 2-2 pitch. High and away with the 4-seam fastball, tries to paint the corner, misses it by 4 feet. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Come on, Luke. Don't chase. Find a way to get on base either with a walk or if you see it right down the middle, let's see if we can get a single or a double here. Top of the 8th, 5-5 game with 1 out and nobody on. And again, Mariners ran out to a 5-0 lead. And Luke Raley, big swing and a miss. And Raley gets punched out by Brock Stewart, 2 away. We might have to find a way to win it in the 9th. But again, we're very good with 2 outs. And maybe this is the guy that's going to win the game for us. First baseman in the 6th hole, Donovan Solano. Let's go, Donovan. And it's crazy to say that you actually look forward to watching Donovan Solano, and he's more reliable than Dylan Moore and Julio Rodriguez. Even though Dylan Moore had 8 homers early in the season, hasn't done anything for us in the last couple months. And Julio, had only 2 ribbies in June, had 4 yesterday with a 2-run jack. But, again, today, not the greatest performance, and hopefully Donovan can be the hero. First pitch, right down the middle, fouled off from Brock Stewart. 0-1 count. Come on, Donovan. All we need is that first batter with 2 outs to get on, and then we can go on a little rally. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Stewart to Solano. Top of the 8th, 5-5 tie with 2 outs and nobody on. Come on, baby. Let's go, Donovan. And down goes Solano. Damn. In play. And flied out to second, and that is out number 3. We're going to be going here to the bottom of the 8th. Mariners have 1 more chance in the 9th, and we'll see where it goes. But again, whoever loses this, it's going to be a heartbreaker, And again, we need to win this game if we're going to try to win 3 out of 4. If we lose this game, we're probably going to win 2 out of 4. So again, and we already won yesterday, 11-2. I don't want to lose this. If we win this game, we're going to win 3 out of 4. And if we win this game, we'll have a good chance of winning tomorrow. And if you win the first 3, you have a chance to sweep. But again, if you lose this game, then the Twins are going to get back into the series. And again, let's go kind of do a quick recap here how we got here. So in the top of the 3rd, Rodriguez had a sac fly to right. Williamson scored 1-0 Mariners. Later in that inning, Cal Raleigh singled to right. Young scored 2-0 Mariners. Then later in that inning, Raley with bases loaded, hit by pitch. Crawford scores 3-0 Mariners. Then Donovan Solano singled to center. Randy scored. Raleigh scored 5-0 Mariners, 5 runs in the 3rd. Then in the bottom of the 3rd, Cody Clemens homered to right from Luis Castillo, making it 5-1. And then in the bottom of the 4th, like I mentioned, when they had runners at first and second and no outs, I said, pull them. If you don't, we're going to, give up a bunch of runs. And that's exactly what happened. Lee singled to left. Larnach scored, going from 5-1 to 5-2. France grounded out into the double play. but Lee scored, making it 5-3. And then later in that inning, Jeffers doubled to left, Clemens scored, and Correa. And then we're sitting at a 5-5 game. So again, we had 5 in the third. They had 4 in the fourth. And we're sitting at a tie score now. But again, if they would have pulled Castillo when I said, maybe we would be up by a run right now, maybe 2 at the most. Again, it's still possible that Gabe Spire and Vargas could have fucked up, but I think I would have trusted them more than what I saw from Castillo in that particular time. So we'll see where we go. Now, Paddock has been long gone. I mean, you're not going to have guys pitch into the 8th inning unless they're having like a career day. So, Paddock has been out for a long time. Paddock's final numbers: 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks, 80 pitches, 51 strikes. They pulled him a little early. 4.64 ERA. Castillo, 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, 91 pitches, 60 strikes, 3.69 ERA. So we went Castillo, Spire, Vargas, and we're bringing in Munoz now, which is crazy. And then Paddock, Barlin, Jax, and Brock Stewart for the Twins. So it's 4-4 up to this point. And hopefully Andres Munoz will be able to get the job done here. And, when you have guys that are as good as Brash and Munoz, and you don't see them every day, it hurts. You want to have those guys play as often as possible. But again, there's not going to be too many opportunities for Munoz to get out there all the time. They have to do it when it's, obviously a save situation or a situation like this. So. First pitch to Correa in there for a strike. Fouled that one off. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. High and inside to Correa. 1 ball and 1 strike from Munoz to Correa. Got to be careful here. Let's go, Munoz. Wheel and deal, baby. And we know Carlos Correa is a deadly hitter. We already know that, being Mariner fans and having to deal with him when he was on the Stros. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Correa. And this is the good Munoz when you end up getting a punch out on the first guy. He's locked in. You already know when Munoz is good, when he, ends up getting, punch outs on the first couple guys. When Munoz is bad is when he gives up 2 hits in his first 2 batters or he walks the first 2 guys. Then there's a chance where he blows a save or he ends up, playing shitty. And right now, too early to say, but at least he got the first guy out, Correa, 1 away. Next up, right fielder Matt Wallner. Two balls and 1 strike from Munoz to Wallner. Come on, baby. 2-1 pitch. In there for a strike. Takes that strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Munoz to Wallner. Come on, baby. All right, we're at 40. We got 10 more likes to go. 2-2 pitch. And Wallner strikes out swinging. And this is the good Munoz. And again, it's been a minute we've seen this version of Munoz. Last few times we've seen him, he's been, a little shaky. And again, this is nice that we get punch outs on the first 2 guys. Nice job by Andres Munoz. Let's go, baby. Keep it rolling. Next up, the former Seattle Mariner first baseman, Ty France. 0 for 3 today. Let's make it 0 for 4. I love you, Ty, but again, we need to win this game. First pitch, big swing and a miss in the zone from Ty France, behind in the count 0-1. 0-1 pitch, tries to jam the hitter at the knees with the sinker and does. Fouls that one off. Nice souvenir for that fan. Behind in the count now 0-2. 1 strike away from getting to the 9th inning, and hopefully we can end up putting up a run and winning this game 6-5, either in 9 or in 10 or 11. Can't lose this game. Have to win. And obviously it's a must-win game for the Twins since they were down 5-0. If they want to be able to split the series and not win just 1 game out of 4, they have to win this one. If they win this one, it could split 2-2. But if we win, we have a very good chance of winning 3 out of 4. And possibly a sweep, depending on what happens tomorrow if we win this one too. 0-2 pitch. That one's fouled off. Count remains no balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th. We're knotted up at 5. Let's go. Oh-2 pitch, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Munoz to France. One-two pitch, fouled off. Sliders. Was it a sinker? Sinker that time around by Andres Munoz. 99 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Monkey Kung Fu in the building. What's good? Let's go, M's. Ooh, Ryan Franklin. Good choice. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. We're at 30 now. 70 to go. Ryan Franklin. Nice one. And Munoz gets him to get one in play and grounds out to the shortstop. JP, throw to first, and we get out of the inning unscathed. There we go. Nice job. Canzone, Williamson, and Young. 0 for 3, 1 for 3, and 1 for 3. The bottom of the order. Top of the 9th inning, 5-5 tie. A little Ryan Franklin auto on the tops. Another Franklin auto. And another Franklin auto. Doesn't have a whole lot of photos that I can use, unfortunately. Then I'll show you a card from my collection. Not a Franklin, though. I wish I had more. But again, I only have the one so far, but I got it right when he ended up hitting, the walk-off homer. Literally that night, I went on eBay and I bought it. But it's a great card. Topps Heritage rookie card, on-card auto, Cal Raleigh. And again, big dumper, doing big things for us in 2025. MVP, baby. Top of the 9th, 5-5. They got Duran on the mound, Canzone in the box. And again, I was reading a report on some of the, potential names, that might be available, and there's a few that are linked to the Mariners, like Josh Naylor and a few others. If we could grab, a couple guys like that and add them to the team, Ryan O'Hearn from the Orioles as well would be a great addition, as well as Bo Naylor, there from the Guardians and whatnot. So we'll see where, things go. There definitely is going to be some movement and there'll be some names thrown around, but we'll see where it goes. 1-1 pitch in play. Canzone lines to third, throw to first. 1 away. And now we're going to have Polanco pinch hit for Cole Young. What a catch by Brooks Lee right there to get that first out. Dominic Canzone can't believe it. All right, here we go. Jorge Polanco. Let's go, Polo. And we've seen Polo come up big in situations like this in the past. Hopefully we can get some magic here. Come on, Polo. Stand with Ukraine in the building. What's good? First pitch from Duran to Polo. Takes a strike swinging. 0-1 count. Nice splitter there by Duran. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 50 likes before the stream ends. And we're at 30 on the dono train, 70 to go. Top of the ninth, knotted up at 5. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Low and at the knees. Behind in the count 0-2 from Jorge Polanco. Not sure if I would want him over Cole Young in this particular game, but we'll see if Polo can do something here. I mean, normally, yes, Polo would be the better, player late. But lately, we've been seeing some pretty good production out of Canzone Williamson and Cole Young. And luckily, on an 0-2 pitch, Polo gets hit. There we go. We'll take that. We'll take a guy getting plunked as long as he doesn't get hurt. Now we got a runner at first. Here we go. And we're going to have Dylan Moore running for Polo. And now Cole Young. So he came in for Ben Williamson. And now we have Cole Young. All right, top of the ninth with a runner at first. Polo hitting for Ben Williamson there and barely gets hit, but we'll take that. Now we have Cole Young. But, I don't know. Like I said, normally with Dominic Canzone, Ben Williamson, Cole Young, these guys have actually been getting the job done, lately. So hopefully we can get something here out of Cole. First pitch from Duran to Cole Young. Fouls went off. 0-1 count. Top of the ninth with a runner at first with 1 out. Let's go. The Cole world, baby. Let's go. AAA, Tacoma Rainiers. Let's get it done. And if you're just tuning in, the Mariners had a 5-0 lead in the third inning, and they let Luis Castillo continue to pitch with runners at first and second and no outs in the fourth. And at that point, it was 5-1, and then they ended up scoring 4, and now it's 5-5. So if Dan Wilson actually had a fucking brain and wasn't like Scott Service today, and we would have pulled him and put in Gabe or Vargas in earlier, maybe we're up 5-4 or 5-3 right now. But if we lose, which I don't think we will, but if we were to lose, it would be because of Dan and Luis. So in play. And there we go, Cole Young with a single to center and Moore with some wheels getting to third. Here we go. Runners at first and third, and a guy that's been a little cold the last couple games. That doesn't mean that he can't heat up. It's J.P. Crawford. Let's go, Crawdaddy. Bring that electricity. Let's get an RBI single here. Let's go, JP. I mean, he even ended up attempting a bunt, and it worked today. Imagine dropping a bunt down here and then having the runner at third, Demo scoring. Would they even anticipate that play? Hell no. Again, but you have to think outside the box. Of course, I believe JP could end up pulling a baseball in the left or right field and getting an RBI single. Hell, he could end up getting a 3-run jack and winning the game for us, 8-5, even though he doesn't have very many homers this season. But, at this point, we'll take anything positive, even if that means only getting a run. But with runners on the corners on first and third with 1 out, we have to get 1. We have to. We if you don't score in this inning, we might lose. We don't really know what's going to happen, in the bottom of the ninth since we had Munoz already pitch. So hopefully JP will be the hero here. Let's go, JP. Way to earn your stripes, from being the leadoff hitter and then getting demoted And then, getting back to the leadoff role. And Crawford hit by pitch. Yes, here we go. The epic meltdown that we needed there by the Minnesota Twins. And Crawford getting hit by pitch. And we've gotten plunked quite a few times. Thank you, Duran. Now we got bases loaded with one out. But remember, Mariner fans, there's plenty of times where we have bases loaded with no outs, bases loaded with one out, and we get nothing. Whatever you do, Julio, don't do the thing that I don't even want to mention on stream. Let's go, Julio. Be the hero, not the zero. Bases loaded, top of the ninth, one out. Julio Rodriguez, first pitch, fouled off, low and inside. Shouldn't have swung, but what does he do? Swing at fucking everything. 0-1 count. If he just would have been patient there, it would have been 1-0 count. Come on, Julio. And again, we don't need necessarily a grand salami, get the mustard and rye bread. That would be the most dramatic way to win the game. But hell, we can win with, obviously him getting walked and bringing in a freebie from third, him getting plunked and walking in that guy from third, or just getting an RBI single or an RBI double and getting it to 6-5 or 7-5. The last thing that we need you is to fucking strike out. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, inside, would have been 2-0 count, but now it's 0-2. Come on, J-Rod. Come on, J-Rod. You can do it, my guy. You only had 2 RBIs in June going into yesterday's game, then a 2-run homer and an RBI late, and you had 4 RBIs yesterday. So now you have a total of 6 for the month of June, but you only had 2, and it was over a month since you homered. Yesterday was the first homer in over a month. So again, let's make it happen here. Here we go, Julio. Here we go. Julio, sac fly to right. Demo, go, go, go. And he scores. There we go. 6-5 Mariners. And Julio was, he hasn't been able to get those big clutch hits, but he has sac flied for runners scored twice tonight. So we'll take that. Dylan Moore with the good speed there. And now we're up 1, and Julio might have been the hero. Nice job, Julio, my boy. And now they're going to intentionally walk Cal Raleigh because they're scared of him. They don't want home run number 33 to happen right here. I mean, we're already up by 1. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to hit a grand slam and we win 10-5? Probably. Cal from the left. Cal from the right. Trident's up. Let's go. Next up is Randy Arozarena. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. Let's see if we can add on a little more. Let's go, Randy. I mean, Cal Raleigh's been doing it from Florida State times as well. Big dumper, maybe it's a medium dumper or small dumper here, but hell, he's been grinding homers out for days on days. 1-0 pitch. Big strike looking right down the middle to Randy Arozarena. 1 ball and 1 strike with bases loaded and 2 outs. Come on, Randy. Let's get a little bit of insurance right here. We can go from Geico to State Farm. We don't have to make some big adjustment. Just a nice RBI single or a walk to make it 7-5. Anything above that is just gravy. But again, getting a 2-run lead in the bottom of the 9th or more is key. We got a 1-run lead, and that's great. But if we can get 1 more minimum, I think we win this game. Hell, we might win 6-5, but again, depends on who comes in for our pen. Since we already used Munoz already in the 8th. 2-1 pitch. Takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. Mariners 6-5 lead. Stack fly by Julio with bases loaded, and Demo scores. And he did that twice today. So even though he might not have the big home run like he did yesterday, still being productive. 2 games in a row for Julio. That's a good sign. Top of the 9th, 6-5 Mariners. Mariners started off with a 5-0 lead in the 3rd. Twins scored 4 in the 4th. And now we're sitting at a 6-5 game with Julio with a sac fly late, with Demo tagging up from 3rd, and now we have a 1-run lead. Come on, baby. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded. Come on, Randy. And Randy gets out. So even though we leave bases loaded stranded, Julio does his job, and hopefully this will be enough for us to win 6-5. Nice job, Julio. and ended up getting this new image for the thumbs today. Wanted to give him some love from the homer yesterday, and it looks like the good luck carried over to today. Nice job, J-Rod. Next up for the Twins, 0 for 1, Willie Castro. Batting second, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, catcher Ryan Jeffers. And batting third, 1 for 3, left fielder Harrison Bader. We should be able to win this game, with just these 3 guys, you would think, but we'll find out. And Munoz pitched 15 pitches, and he had 12 strikes, 1.21 ERA. But we'll see who they bring in here. And Brash is coming in. Here we go. This game is over. Brash is going to mow him down. Let's go. This is the first time that we've seen Brash enter the game after Munoz. But again, Brash is the best player, in the pen, not named Andres Munoz. So those are our top 2 guys, and then Bizardo is the second best behind Brash now, over Gabe Spire and a few others. So let's go, Brash. Let's get it done. And out of all the guys in the pen, Matt Brash is the only one that hasn't fucked up all year. So that doesn't mean that he can't fuck up here. He can. It's possible. But with where we're at in the batting order, I think that, since we're not at the top of the order, we should be able to mow him down. Let's go, Brash. First pitch to Willie Castro, who pinched hit last inning. Takes a strike looking on the line, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Big strike looking in the zone at the knees, behind the count 0-2 to Matt Brash. Let's go, Matt. Wheel and deal. Bring that electricity. You are the most trustworthy guy in the pen. Brash is even more trustworthy than Munoz, which is a crazy thing to say because Munoz has been playing like an all-star this year. And Brash is coming off Tommy John from last year, and he's been absolutely electric. 0-2 pitch, low and away, change up, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Brash to Castro. Brash would make an excellent closer, but again, we also need, good bullpen pieces. So, and again, you're not going to be able to see your closer every day. It's like we see Munoz like once a week. Hell, we only see Brash once every 4 to 5 days. So, you need to have, the good Bizardos and the others. And Castro on the 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. See ya! 1 away. Next up is Ryan Jeffers. First pitch from Brash to Jeffers. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 0-1 count. Let's go, Brash. 0-1 pitch. Takes another strike right down the middle. You don't want none of this, baby. Behind in the count 0-2. And again, it's crazy to think that Brash is better than Munoz, as far as like trust, but it's true. Again, but Munoz hasn't fucked up that many times. Out of all of his starts, he had an ERA of 0 in the first 50 games. So he's only kind of fucked up twice, and it hasn't really been that detrimental to us in the couple times that he's, given up hits or runs. So again, closers fuck up from time to time when the hitters get hot. 0-2 pitch, low and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Brash to Jeffers. 1-2 pitch, slider low and away, 86 miles an hour by Brash. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Brash to Jeffers. And we just need 2 more outs, and we'll take a 6-5 win. We win this game 6-5, we're going to have a very good chance to win 3 out of 4. If we win tomorrow, we have a chance for the sweep. But again, if the Twins were going to win 2, and we were going to win 2, they have to win this game, and we're going to prevent that here. Jeffers grounds out to first, 2 away. Let's go. 1 more out, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's go, baby. Help us get to 50. Next up, 1 for 3, Harrison Bader. First pitch from Brash to Bader, fouled off right down the middle, 0-1 count. And if you notice how Brash pitches, He pitches with control, but he also pitches with high-end speed. And he usually will end up with a first pitch strike more times than not, and that's where the trust comes from. He can get you in an 0-2 count better than anybody on the team, even Munoz. And that's key to get ahead of the count early and often. 1-1 pitch. Big strike looking high and in the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody on, 2 outs. Here we go, baby. 1 more strike, and we're going to take this dub. And also being up 5-0 in the third, this would have been an embarrassing loss. And Luis Castillo, and Dan Wilson, you better pray like a motherfucker and watch some goddamn tape. And anytime that we have a guy with first and second with no outs in the fourth or the fifth, you fucking pull him. Otherwise, you're going to risk us losing games, Dan Wilson. Let's go, baby. Brash on the mound. Bader in the box. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch. In play. And grounds out to the pitcher. There it is, baby. Hell yeah. Final score, Mariners 6, Minnesota Twins 5. The Mariners come back. Obviously, when we're up 5-0, then it was 5-5, and we find a way to get the fucking job done because we got one of the best guys in the pen in the entire league, Matt fucking Brash, fresh off Tommy John. Tommy John who? Tommy John where? Tommy John nowhere. Let's go. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Let's go. Hell yeah, baby. Great job. You still haven't, choked all year. And again, I'm just so thankful that we have someone as good as Matt Brash on the roster. And when he was injured last year, there was a reason why we struggled because we didn't have him. And now you're starting to see how good Matt Brash truly fucking is. Great job by the Mariners. Let's go. Definitely a game that we could have lost. And again, it would have been Dan Wilson and Luis Castillo's fault. But luckily for Julio Rodriguez, he keeps his hot streak going for 2 games in a row and is one of the reasons why we won this game here today, 6-5. Nerve-wracking, but obviously a little bit funner, for the Twins fans and other fans on the outside looking in, especially when the Mariners were up 5-0. It looked like we were going to win, by 5 to 10 runs. And then Castillo fucked up, gave up 4, tied it up 5-5. But again, good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. Even though our manager at times is shaky, as well as our starting pitching, we found a way and we got it done. Mariners win. Final score, Mariners 6, Twins 5. Let's go. There we go. Great job by All Day and Captain for working, obviously, the chat to be able to get us to that 50 like number. No problem. Appreciate you for one of your first donos to the channel. And again, I'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 4:40 Pacific. And then on Thursday, they play early at 10 a.m. For the rubber match for game number 4. But tomorrow we'll be there as well. Monkey, anything else you want to see photo-wise for your last dono? Besides Ryan Franklin, I'm going to throw up some Julios for the time being. And some Matt Brash is here since he was the hero. But if there's anything else that you want to be able to see before we go, let me know. And hopefully we get some Cal Raleigh homers, obviously in game 3 and game 4. Nice job, J-Rod. And again, I was, going through a few different images and I thought, wow, if I could get this one to format, this would be a nice fire image. And again, I had a gut feeling that Julio would play good today. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put him on the thumb. And he got the job done. It's not always pretty with Julio. And even though it was only 2 sac flies, but those sac flies were good enough to score runs twice. And again, we love when he hits homers, but we just love when he ends up being productive. And he is one of the reasons why we won. Nice job, J-Rod. Let's go. Well, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Again, what a crazy fucking game. But again, you know, we have to find ways to kind of dig things out. And then let's go over the next two games real quick before I go. And then that'll give time for Monkey Kung Fu to come up with another name. Julio Mateo, nice choice. And tomorrow at 4:40 Pacific, same time, same place, we got George Kirby. And this is going to be tough tomorrow. You know, we might lose tomorrow. Joe Ryan, 7-3 record with a 3.06. So hopefully we can get 1 to 3 runs on Joe Ryan within the first 5 innings. If we do, we're going to win. If not, and we don't score any runs in the first 5 innings, we might lose that game, especially if Kirby gives up 3, 4, 5 runs. But, you know, 1-3 record, 6.16 ERA. Kirby was terrible in his first 3 starts. Then he had that career high 14K game, but the last couple, he hasn't been good. But you could say that for all the starting pitching. You know, we had a 14K game by, George Kirby, 10 Ks by Logan Gilbert. But other than that, most of the starting pitching hasn't been good lately. Bullpen has been great. Hitting has been great. But hopefully the starting pitching will be, good enough to only give up 3 runs or less. And then on Thursday, the rubber match at 10:10 a.m. on MLB Network, it's Emerson Hancock, who got absolutely fucking rocked. And we're going to be going against Woods Richardson, and he's just as bad, 2-4 with a 5.06. Hancock, 3-3 with a 5.43. So we'll see how it goes there. Hopefully Hancock will be the good Hancock, not the bad one that we saw get fucking obliterated, for 5-6 runs in his last start, but we'll see where it goes. All right, Julio Mateo, let's see what we can find. Getting swept by the Brewers. First 2 games by the Mariners. But again, we swept the Guardians. And won 2 out of 3 at Wrigley against the Cubs. We're feeling it, baby. See if we can find a Julio Mateo auto. This is an old one from when he was on the San Antonio Missions. Seeing if I can find one more. Not a lot of options for a player like this. That's the best one that I could find. All the other ones have got like watermarks on them or they're not formatting, so. Well, I appreciate you very, very much. Shout out to Monkey Kung Fu, as well as obviously Captain all day. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And final score, Seattle Mariners 6, Minnesota Twins 5. What a great victory. And again, we almost blew it there with Dan Wilson and Luis Castillo, but we found a way to get it done. And thank you so much, Captain, and all day for obviously your help. Appreciate you. And again, we'll be back obviously tomorrow at the same time. Shout out to all your support that you're bringing to the channel. Same thing with Monkey Kung Fu. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for the support. And just glad that the Mariners got that one-run win. And again, we're going to try to win tomorrow, which will be interesting because we got Kirby and Emerson Hancock in the next 2 games. And we're definitely going to need to score 5 runs or more, maybe 6 or 7, to be able to win the games tomorrow, unless it ends up being a pitcher's duel, which is possible if Kirby gives us a good performance. But at the end of the day, we get the dub, and that's exactly what we need. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Final score, Mariners 6, Minnesota Twins 5. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang. Tridents up.